Why not? Let's go live a little early. I saw quite a few people jump in. I wonder what's causing that. Just the initial excitement of seeing the post and clicking it, not reading the actual timestamp as to when we're kicking it off. Because there, in fact, is a countdown even in the Rumble. It literally tells you when we're planning on kicking off the live. Also, per minute, just sheer countdown. But it's okay. Got some additional information that I wasn't planning on going through prior to diving into the Fall of the Cabal. What is it? Episode 6, potentially through 10. We'll see what we could get through. Let's kick it off on Instagram. And we should be good to go. Hope you're having an amazing day over there. My gosh. I'm on the struggle bus. Ebbing and flowing. The pain in my hand and arm. It is just throbbing. And it is such a pain to use this mouse right now. Boo-hoo, right? Boo-hoo. Welcome to a Muzzled Chat. So let's just dive into the screen share because I want to fill you folks in on a bit as to some of the struggles. It's very painful being a year in and getting mere hundreds. I mean, singular views are still potentially worth producing content in today's day and age when we're sounding the alarm on the warfare that is taking place. But a lot of the content we're exposing clearly would, the more that would come across it, just the better. Because not only would we end up more so protected, but we could gain, like, collectively more solutions and momentum in fixing these issues. And it looks as though I'm about to lose, what is it? I'm losing count, my fourth TikTok. And it becomes very disheartening when it seems like I'm even going against algorithms on Rumble. Every single platform there is, we need more natural growth. We need more listeners to share the content, to get it out there. And these messages and sounding the alarm. TikTok is so tyrannical. They're manipulating so many people. You know they're boosting the LGBT nonsense and the grooming of children to the forefront, borderline pedophilia to the forefront, yet they're censoring truth. This right here is, in fact, a clip that I just recently posted. I posted 2 yesterday, and they both ended up censored. And I just want you to know, more so than whining about it, I want you to know what they're censoring. Why they fighting so hard to sweep things regarding your health under the rug? The PCR testing in and of itself was defective. It had negative efficacy. And if we would have truly honed in on that right out the gate, everything thereafter would have fell flat on its face.
Right. And you know what I'll say on top of that? We need to start questioning not just the PCR diagnostics of the COVID era, but we need to start, I'm not saying all out question, but you have to wonder about cancer diagnostics and some of these other diagnostics.
Yes.
Right? If you go to a doctor and they're like, yep, hey, we've got signs, you've got cancer. And then they just funnel you into the cancer treatment pipeline and you didn't question it at all. Like, oh yeah, I have been feeling a little down or low of energy or this or that, but you didn't get like a second opinion or a third opinion and you just jumped right into the most profitable treatment in the world, which is basically...
Why? The PCR, what was stated, the PCR testing was proven to have negative efficacy. It was so defective. It had false positives with tap water, oranges, unopened packages. You freaking name it. But it doesn't matter to them. They're entirely controlled. But so they're trying to control narratives. Like, people aren't grasping how, like, the level of magnitude, the danger of information warfare and the censorship and the infringement on our freedom of speech. I would rather not even be going to TikTok, a tyrannical platform, but to try to get the people over to free speech. But this tyrannical platform is what people are gravitating toward, and it blows my mind. Where's the brainiacs with the money, time, or energy to kick off the new age TikTok, the uncensored TikTok? Something tells me that would go more so viral than even TikTok itself. Well, possibly. I mean, who's to say? We got Rumble, yet YouTube is still. So what is that? Can't teach an old dog new tricks even to their own benefit? Golly, my human self really wants to throw in the towel when I really sit back and think about these type of things. So the second one that was censored was this right here. Let's give it a listen.
How do we have a free market if the most important scientific breakthroughs of the last 100 years have been ruthlessly confiscated, people murdered, and kept off the market? No, it's a controlled economy.
You got to understand. Controlled economy. What he even just states here. Think as to how many lives could have been saved with the truth bomb he just drops if these individuals weren't murdered and their findings weren't shelved.
Important scientific breakthroughs of the last 100 years have been ruthlessly confiscated, people murdered, and kept off the market. No, it's a controlled economy.
It's true. It's all controlled. What that man stated is 100% true, and we got example after example after example. This got pulled for misinformation. This got pulled for misinformation. They're just a Nazi-style regime controlling. It's warfare. It's warfare, and it's not just TikTok and China. It's right here in our country. That's why as dark, as heavy, as ugly as maybe some of the fall of the Cabal in connecting these evil doers to pedophilia and some of the most disgusting, vile things in this existence is important. We're the real men with the kahunas. For frick's sakes, Janet, a woman, connected these dots and put this all together for us. She paid getting this information out with her life. Are we not going to do anything like with that gift that she's just given us? Now, lastly, this clip. Let's try to open our minds. How bad are we being manipulated? We all have work to do. And then there's an open invitation. Please join us. Because it's not me and UNMUZZLED chat in and of itself that's going to have any major impact. It's collectively together. It's all of us. And frankly, not seeing enough engagement. So it is testing my resolve. Maybe we'll get there. Just keep trucking. Maybe I'll be called to do something else.
Why is it so hard to change someone's mind? Let's talk about it. If you're new to my channel, I'm of course Rachel, the neuroscientist. The brain really doesn't like changing its mind, and that gives rise to things like the confirmation bias.
Let's just point out that our natural state, which isn't so much our natural state. Think about in a tribal atmosphere, minus the city influence in schools and teachers, things of that nature, you'd actually learn really quickly. Oh, let's say you venture out to the next tribe over, they're explaining something you're unfamiliar with, but how it's threatening, whether it's a poisonous plant or an animal that you haven't experienced, you're quickly gonna, okay, listen and learn and observe and absorb it. So it's more so the false sense of security we've acquired.
Why is it so hard?
We've acquired in this civilization, city-style living, city of comfort, modern technological advances, luring us into a false sense of security that we would even believe My gosh, let's pull up that image. Please give me a minute here. This is powerful image, unused cover images, and I definitely plan on using this as a cover image here in the near future. But come on, this is what it's all about. This is what our civilization in today's day and age has become. We've been more ingrained and indoctrinated to line up for, look at that. Oh, nice. Combed over hair, dressed nicely with the tie, and the handsome man smiling in a confident posture. Comforting lies. And no one is visiting unpleasant truths. Well, if they weren't threatening situations, then that'd be one thing. But you put a big banner like war and outcomes from this to that, you would be insane to line up to be gaslit, literally sent off to the gas chambers, more so than lining up, grabbing your rifles, grabbing whatever it takes to combat the war tactics that are being waged against us. I just don't get it. So let this be the disclaimer, folks. Janet does dive into graphic images, child sex trafficking, things to that nature, but it's important. And the more of us that have the kahunas to see the bigger picture, I know there's a level of darkness. So the disclaimer, man, just please let it draw you towards the light. In fact, we got some scripture queued up here that should help us with it. We have John 10:10. The thief, so Satan, the devil, the demon, his spirits, the thief comes only. He only comes. He doesn't come for just to play games. This is the word from the word of God. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. God and Jesus, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Obviously that reads funny to me, but Simon, Satan has Satan has asked to sift all you as wheat. I need to learn that one. 1 Peter 5:8. Be alert and of somber mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. He's only here to destroy. We can see his destruction around, and we can see his continual effectiveness in deteriorating minds. I mean, going back to this right here, how badly are we manipulated? We have supposed God-fearing individuals supporting bankers' wars that is leading to innocent loss of life, with the most tribal talk as an excuse, completely negating the new covenant through Jesus Christ. People are being entirely misled. Too many are being deceived, and it's breaking my heart. But that's enough from me. Let's go ahead and dive in. We got a lot to go through this episode, so let's go ahead and dive in. If I could get verification from one of y'all that the sound's coming through okay, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate it. In fact, I'm looking here and the sound's not even on.
The swimming pool in the artwork bought by the Podestas actually exists. It is the subterranean swimming pool at Biltmore Mansion in Asheville, North Carolina.
Get out of here, folks. So that image we ended on, they found the actual swimming pool.
This was the home of multimillionaire Gloria Vanderbilt, who recently passed away at the age of 95. Here we have Gloria and her two sons, Anderson and Carter Cooper. Carter committed suicide when he was 23. Anderson is a well-known news reporter for CNN.
Wow.
Why does Gloria's swimming pool appear on paintings of tortured children?
Right.
Is it a coincidence that the little boy so strongly reminds me of Anderson Cooper, Gloria's son? Could there be a connection between her swimming pool and the entertainment with young children for the elite, as mentioned in the infamous Podesta emails?
Wow.
Anderson Cooper, son of Gloria Vanderbilt, world-renowned and award-winning reporter for CNN. He was caught overdoing it from time to time, making things look much worse than they actually were.
Right.
But hey, maybe he's just a bit of a drama queen. At least it led to some funny responses on social media. The question remains, is it okay for a media outlet to deliberately broadcast such exaggerations? Is that honest broadcasting? Is it okay to influence the public with headlines such as these?
It's not okay. Obama passed legislation that made it legal for our mainstream media to lie to us. Unacceptable. We should be holding them all accountable.
Is it okay for the Dutch news network NOS to show a twisted version of an interview by BBC's John Sweeney asking Putin about the killings in the Ukraine, where the NOS edited the original interview so that Putin seems to walk away, ignoring Sweeney? Yet the original interview, which can also be found on the internet, shows Putin taking his time answering the question. Is it okay for several American news outlets to accuse Trump of raping a 13-year-old girl together with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted pedophile? Is it okay that there's a deafening silence from the mainstream media now that the flight records show that it wasn't Trump, but Bill Clinton who joined Epstein at his parties with underage girls on Orgy Island?
Right.
Is it okay that Trump's words about MS-13 gang members being animals were totally twisted, obviously on purpose, so that he seems to refer to immigrants being animals? Do you remember the little boy from Syria, sleeping between the graves of his parents? That too was staged and broadcast on purpose as to manipulate the people into yet another war. The boy was paid to lie there. I don't know about you guys, but this is not okay.
No, it's not.
It's not okay to fake white helmets saving a wounded man right after a bombing, only to have a selfie taken. That's deceit.
Folks, we got to understand this single war tactic, this single leg of war, if you will. Like Trump even said it really well in an interview recently he did with Dan Bongino, and he stated, quote, "I don't know that a country can come back if it has a fake press. Too many are still being misled. Too many aren't seeing the actual war being waged on everyone." You know what? I'm human. To be frank, I'm kind of tired of sounding the alarm on all the tactics. I'm tired of walking outside and seeing the chemtrails continuing, knowing like too many, even that I talk with, aren't doing their due diligence. Even my own family or friends or inner circles. Now I get everyone's got like their free agency from God. I'm not to twist their arm and force it upon anyone, but it's just insanity to me. If I legit went to anyone with real footage of an individual, a stranger poisoning your children, you would freak out. But somehow when it now has to do with the government and things that they've labeled conspiratorial on, when in fact it's been entirely proven. It's not even up for debate. Well, let's just continue. My only hope is that this will somehow connect the dots and break through that cognitive dissonance or whatever it is, the level of hacked and defective wiring we've acquired to keep us blind to these very threats. We are living in the Matrix.
It's not okay to lie to the public about Syria and the alleged chemical attacks so that yet another war can be justified. For months, we were lied to by the mainstream media. Remember this poor little girl? You probably will, for she was used 3 times for 3 different rescue missions in 3 different months in 2016.
Look at that.
I find that shocking.
Yes, I do
too. It is
too.
not okay to fake attacks on women and children to trigger an emotional response that justifies the invasion of yet another foreign country. I find it horrifying to see the well-designed deceit of Western people who watch and trust the news.
Right.
Do you remember this one? I could go on for hours with examples of fake news, but I think this is enough. For now at least. I'll give you 2 more to digest.
We have so
In 2015,
much.
during a presidential rally, Trump imitated reporter Serge Kovaleski, whom he had caught lying. It concerned an article from 2001, in which Kovaleski wrote about people cheering the fall of the Twin Towers. When Trump quoted the article in 2015, Kovaleski backed out, saying he didn't remember writing the article. Well, the article could easily be found on the internet, and Trump called out Kovaleski for his lie. But the mainstream media seized the opportunity and used these headlines: Trump mocks the disabled. Kovaleski suffers from arthrogryposis, but that does not cause the weird movements Trump made. On other occasions, and in exactly the same way, Trump had imitated Senator Jim Mattis, presidential candidate Marco Rubio, a general, and a bank manager who all got away with lies. However, as Mattis, Rubio, the general, and the bank manager were not handicapped, they were of no use to the mainstream media. Kovaleski's handicap, however, went around the world, convincing everybody that Trump looked down on the disabled. And I must confess, I too fell for it. Then, last but not least, for 2 years, the mainstream media kept pushing the liberal agenda on Trump and the alleged Russian collusion, whereas on March 23, 2019, the Mueller investigation officially ended and nothing was found.
Nothing.
After 2 years of doing everything they could to take Trump down, they found absolutely nothing.
Millions of dollars.
Trump was cleared, yet the mainstream media kept repeating something has to be wrong with this president. Trump's official innocence is completely hushed up, just like they didn't say a word about the countless pedophiles that were arrested under Trump. Total radio silence. From the beginning, Trump has been warning us about the mainstream media as the #1 enemy of the people. And the more I study the subject, the more I understand that Trump is actually correct. The mainstream media uses its power to steer the public into a desired direction. The spreading of disinformation is nothing new. Back in the early 1950s, the CIA set up Operation Mockingbird, a large-scale program in the US with the sole purpose of manipulating news media for propaganda purposes. Leading American journalists were recruited into a propaganda network. In other words, the Secret Service determined what was going to be on TV and in the news. Shocking.
Yes, I
It
do
is
too.
not okay to fake attacks on women. In 2015, Kovaleski backed out. Was going to be on TV and in the news. Shocking.
Yes, I
It
do
is
too.
not okay to fake attacks on women. In 2015, Kowalewski backed out. Has anything changed? Was going to be on TV
apparently
and
not.
in the news. German whistleblower Udo Ulfkotte, high-profile journalist for the Frankfurter Allgemeine, stated in front of the camera that he felt deeply ashamed to have consistently lied to the public for over 25 years.
Jeez. Wow. To manipulate people to make propaganda against Russia.
Ulfkotte died of a heart attack shortly after, in January 2017.
Interesting.
The illusion of choice. We think, there are so many channels, how could they all be in on it? Well, that's easy. This shows you who owns whom.
Right.
Do you see it? There are only 4 companies. CBS seems to be independent, but is owned by the same billionaire as Viacom. When you give people the illusion of choice, they believe they are free. And if you want to find out why the mainstream media push the liberal agenda down our throats,
So powerful.
all you have to do is follow the money. Who made major contributions to Hillary Clinton to support her work and the liberal agenda? That's right. CNN, NBC, News Corporation, Turner Broadcasting, Thomson Reuters, Newsmax Media, Time Warner, Viacom, Comcast, HBO, AOL, Hollywood Foreign Press Association, Public Radio International, Public Broadcasting Service, Huffington Post Media Group, Carlos Slim, the largest shareholder of
It's
the
a big
New York
group.
Times, James Murdoch of 21st Century Fox, Judy Woodruff, co-anchor and managing editor of PBS NewsHour, Howard Stringer, former president of CBS, George Stephanopoulos, ABC News chief anchor and chief political correspondent, Mort Zuckerman, owner of New York Daily News and US News and World Report, and The Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos of Amazon, well known for its censorship of quite a few books on controversial topics.
More than just bugs.
Censorship is one of the greatest dangers to a democracy and to freedom of speech. 3 more major sponsors of Hillary Clinton are Google, Twitter, and Facebook.
Wow.
Google and its YouTube are highly active in the field of censorship,
Yes.
just like Twitter and Facebook. It will come as no surprise that pro-Trump posts are among the most censored ones, as are posts of critical thinkers and researchers and anyone who dares question the official narrative of events such as the ones I presented in part 1. Pro-Hillary posts are never censored. Doesn't that make you wonder? Remember Correct the Record and Media Matters for America? Those are the kind of censorship companies that work behind the scenes of Facebook, Twitter, Google, and YouTube to delete anything that opposes the liberal agenda. And guess what? Correct the Record is now promoted by AFAS, the global activist network that I once thought so highly of. AFAS was co-founded by Res Publica and Move On. Res Publica received $250,000 from George Soros.
Yeah.
Move On got $1.6 million from Soros. AFAS's founding president and executive director Ricken Patel has consulted for the Rockefeller Foundation, the UN, the Gates Foundation, and the International Crisis Group, with Soros as chairman and Frank Giustra as CEO. Remember our friend with the pedophile logo from part 4? AFAS's co-founder is Tom Perriello, former Virginia congressman, best buddies with Obama, and executive director of the Open Society Foundations of George Soros, one of the main parties behind the notorious and destabilizing migrant caravan invasion. It will come as no great surprise that AFAS strongly opposes President Trump. This is what we call controlled opposition.
Right. Is a protest movement that is actually led by government agents. Nearly all governments in history have deployed this technique to trick and subdue their adversaries. 100% controlled opposition. To such an extent, they break many laws.
Like I said, censorship is dangerous. The so-called fact-checkers are dangerous. Snopes is one of them. Set up by a couple from San Fernando Valley, David and Barbara Mickelson. The couple fell out. Barbara accused David of spending $98,000 on prostitutes, which is probably true, as he divorced Barbara and married call girl and porn star Elisa Young, aka Erin Abrin, who is now Snopes' administrator.
Disgusting.
Snopes' only fact-checker is Kim LaCapria, also known as sex and fetish blogger Vice Vixen. That, my friends, is fact-checker Snopes. There are no researchers, no investigators, no lawyers, no documents to support their findings, and they are strongly politically biased. Yet they are generally accepted as fact-checker. I find that most shocking. Do you get the picture? Operation Mockingbird never ended. John Podesta, one of the key suspects in the Pizzagate scandal, got his own column in the Washington Post, writing about politics and policies. How the hell is he supposed to give an objective view of Trump, his worst enemy? John Brennan, head of the CIA till 2017, now serves as senior analyst for NBC News and MSNBC.
Wow.
Anderson Cooper worked for the CIA before he became a news anchor. According to himself, it was only an internship when he was 19. But I wonder how many young men are approached by the CIA for an internship. Anderson did not even have the proper education to be offered a job. Yet in no time, he became the face of CNN. The secret services still decide what the people are supposed to think and believe. If they want to invade yet another country, they will use the mainstream media to make you believe that that particular country needs to be freed of it.
Wow. This is pre-Ukraine, pre-Israel, and she's hitting it out of the park. These are tactics that have been deployed all throughout history, and we're not seeing them accurately.
A terrible dictator who kills his own people. The real reason for the invasion will quite likely never be known to the public. It'll probably have to do with oil or the installment of yet another Rothschild bank. But hey, who cares? It was in the news that they freed those poor people from their dictator and that democracy was bestowed upon them.
Right.
And if it's in the news, it's true. End of story. Well, no, it's not. If the media coverage is controlled by secret services, it seems only logical to me to focus on the things they refuse to cover or ridicule. Number one topic that comes to mind? Pizzagate. Debunked by the mainstream media like nothing else. Let's continue with a bit of additional research in part 7.
Hang on to your britches. If we're diving into Pizzagate. That's some dark stuff, but we must expose this evil cabal to ramp up the proper sense of urgency to tear it down.
Researchers agree on the Bilderberg Group is definitely cabal. There's one more thing Bernard was known for, and this is where it gets really dirty. It's the main reason why I put so much emphasis on our royal family. And this is something everybody needs to know.
Was this?
Come quickly to part 8.
Oh wow, why didn't it didn't start at the beginning? I apologize. Here we go.
This is Marina Abramovic, a Serbian performance artist who likes to display the limits of the body and the possibilities of the mind. She pioneered a new notion of identity by focusing on confronting pain, blood, and physical limits of the body. Let's have a look at her work.
Disgusting, man. This is evil, guys. It's demonic. Satan's bloodlust. He's here to destroy. This is not art. Unbelievable. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up.
In 1996, Abramovic introduced Spirit Cooking, a cookbook with essential aphrodisiac recipes, some of which call for the mixture of fresh breast milk and sperm milk. When WikiLeaks posted this, it definitely had my attention.
Wow.
Spirit Cooking later took on the form of dinner party entertainment for her donors and friends. The link to cannibalism is obvious.
Right. Unbelievable. All these celebrities. Folks,
Abramovich
They're so
furthermore made her appearance
demonic.
in the leaked Podesta emails. Why am I not surprised? I discovered this photo of Abramovich and John of God. Exactly, the very same Brazilian healer who was recently arrested and charged with multiple accounts of abduction,
Right.
abuse, rape, child trafficking, and murder. The very same personal healer of Bill Clinton. This picture is particularly interesting for the Dutch viewers. Before Willem-Alexander became King of the Netherlands, his mother Beatrix was on the throne. She frequented Abramovich's performances. On this particular occasion, she wore a brooch that seems to be a pizza slice. Now this may be far-fetched, but let's see. Meet Maxima Zorreguieta, born in Argentina and now married to our king Willem-Alexander van Oranje-Nassau, and daughter of the late Jorge Zorreguieta, who served as cabinet minister during the so-called Dirty War of dictator Jorge Videla. Maxima had 4 sisters and 2 brothers. One of her sisters is Dolores, an artist who came to the Netherlands in 2005 to exhibit her work. The exhibition was called Love Romance. Have a look for yourself.
People are freaking twisted. How do we even live in a world with these freaks? I don't get it. Unbelievable. And these are our elites? These are our rulers? This is the stuff hanging in their
Is it just
freaking
me, or
estates?
is this insane?
It's insane.
To me, this looks like an outcry for help from a severely traumatized woman.
Wow.
In June 2018, Maxima's younger sister, Inez, was found dead in her apartment, hung with a scarf from a doorknob. Doorknobs have proven to be lethal for quite a few people lately.
That's right.
In other words, not suicide, but murder.
Yeah. Speaking out against the Cabal. Yeah.
Was Inez Zorreguieta about to spill the beans on the Cabal? Is that why she was silenced? Could this be true? Let's have a look at some other doorknob victims. Number 1. Lorraine Scott, fashion designer and former girlfriend of Nathan Rothschild, one of the world's most wealthy families. According to a longtime lover, Mick Jagger, Lorraine was not suicidal. Number 2. Chris Cornell, lead singer of the rock band Soundgarden and Audioslave. According to his family, he suffered from depression due to being sexually abused as a child. He and his wife founded the Chris and Vicky Cornell Foundation to support children suffering the consequences of abuse and neglect. He and his best friend, Chester Bennington, were working on exposing an elite pedophile ring. Cornell was also the main financial backer for the documentary The Silent Children about child sex trafficking. After he died, the project was cancelled. According to his family, Cornell was not suicidal at the time of his death. Interesting detail contradicting the suicide theory was the blood on his head and on the ground. Was Cornell killed by a stroke on the head and strangulation by means of his exercise belt? Number 3. Chester Bennington, best friend of Chris Cornell and lead singer of Linkin Park. He died 2 months after Cornell. Bennington also suffered from depression due to being sexually abused as a child by a friend of the family. According to some sources, that friend was John Podesta, key player in Pizzagate.
Wow.
And when you look at the striking resemblance, Podesta could well be Chester's biological father. When Chester was 9 years old, his father abandoned the family after finding out the boy was not his son. Was Podesta both the pedophile family friend and the biological father of Chester Bennington? Is it a coincidence that the logo of his band looks like a broken version of the young boy love symbol? Number 4. Tim Bergling, aka Avicii. World-famous Swedish DJ, musician and record producer. According to the first news about his apparent suicide, Bergling was said to have hung himself from a doorknob. Later on, the narrative was changed into self-inflicted cuts with a broken wine bottle that led to heavy and lethal bleeding. It took almost 2 weeks for this official narrative to be published. Bergling's 2015 video clip For a Better Day clearly and shockingly shows child sex trafficking. At the end of the video clip, Bergling turns out to play the part of the abused boy, now grown up and ready to take revenge on his abusers. Did he actually experience these horrors in his childhood? Was he murdered for bringing this out into the open?
Wow.
Bergling's family believes he did commit suicide, yet his girlfriend expressed her disbelief. Number 5. Annabelle Nielsen, ex-wife of Nathan Rothschild, who also lost Lorenz Scott through hanging, remember? According to her family, she died of a stroke, but according to friends, she was found hanging by a scarf from a doorknob. Number 6. Aaron Swartz, computer programmer and activist for internet freedom, for which he found...
They're trying to put fear in people to not coming forward and whistleblowing to their evil deeds. The doorknob clearly has representation here, and there's no way all of this is just coincidence. Let's be real.
Founded Demand Progress and Reddit. He died after hacking into MIT and JSTOR. Schwartz was arrested and charged with computer fraud. However, 1 week after his alleged suicide, it became apparent that Schwartz had leaked the hacked documents to WikiLeaks.
Wow.
One can only speculate as to the contents. Number 7. Kate Spade, American fashion designer. Spade led delegations to Haiti for the No Ceilings initiative of the Clinton Foundation, aimed at the global support of women and girls. Haiti is one of the main places on earth for child trafficking, and we've already seen the involvement of the Clintons in part 4. What did Kate Spade know that led to her death? Why did her husband Andy appear in public 2 days after her death wearing a rat mask? Was Kate about to rat to betray the Clintons? Was Andy Spade forced to wear the mask as a warning to others who just might rat?
Wow.
Number
That's
8.
gnarly.
Anthony Bourdain, celebrity chef, TV presenter.
What are we afraid of? These few? Oh my gosh, let's go. Frick the synagogue of Satan. When you really see the depths of it, it kind of shifts. Your personal life almost doesn't matter so much with the other opportunities that are presenting itself in this existence. Knowing we're all temporarily visiting, there are definitely more impactful, more crucial things we could be doing on behalf of our God, our country, and our families.
Presenter and author. Bourdain openly criticized Hillary Clinton on multiple occasions. He spoke out strongly against globalization and deeply hoped Henry Kissinger would be called out for the war crimes he committed. Bourdain had been to Pedophile Island, Haiti, to shoot an episode for his TV program, No Reservations. A month before his death, he posted a tweet about the wrath of Hillary Clinton he had experienced.
Wow. Wow.
followed by this one, even more outcalling.
Whoa, let's assume for the purpose of discussion that Hillary Rodham Clinton is Satan's consort and eats children and puppies whenever possible. In what way is Mikey Cohen, the president's fixer, not a problem? There are so many individuals that have befriended the Clintons throughout the years, obviously, that have been murdered. But there are so many that speak out to these narratives. Too many to be coincidental. I don't understand as to how we don't get legal. I mean, those 8 officers that got Podesta's laptop and emails, tying all of this together. There were reports on Hillary and some other gal and doing horrific things to a little girl. These men were thrown up, and then the majority of these men ended up suicided. Unbelievable. Like, what do we need to do? Do we need to get the armed forces engaged, or enough civilians to just do a civilian's arrest? Like, look, we need to get to the bottom of this. We have the numbers on our side. We could truly abolish this 2-tiered infrastructure if we chose. I don't understand why we're choosing to live in slavery under these individuals as they're pulling the strings, squeezing us, poisoning us, doing all these things just to diminish our chances to even live in a blissful country and world and have just a more blessed life. I don't get it. We're so weak.
And then Bourdain died a sudden and unexpected death.
Of course. Gosh.
So, what are we dealing with here? The world has obviously gone mad.
Right.
We've already seen the normalization of pedophilia. Now the elite takes it a level higher, worshipping the devil and normalizing cannibalism.
Right.
You don't believe me? Watch this.
Oh boy. Hang on to your britches. Careful who you idol worship.
Is this really the sign of the devil? Oh yes. Meet Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, giving the exact same sign. The same Church of Satan Chelsea Clinton is so fond of.
Wow.
The upside-down pentagram containing the horned one plus the upside-down cross, it's all there. So, we have Satan, we have blood, we have body parts.
All the symbolism right in front of our faces.
We have cannibalism.
Young Healthy Bodies. CannibalClub.org.
Statues of Moloch, an expression of the devil, are now watching over several American cities.
Yes, you can't deny this. Unbelievable.
And only recently a new one was placed in Rome. Let's go back to the Dutch royal family and see how far this insanity goes. You've already met King Willem-Alexander and his beautiful Argentinian wife Maxima. They both have very interesting fathers. Maxima's father, Jorge Zorrigueta, was Minister of Agriculture in the regime of General Jorge Videla, a military dictator who ruled Argentina from 1976 till 1981 and who was responsible for the kidnapping, torture and murder of an estimated 30,000 people. As part of the Videla government, Zorrigueta must have known about the atrocities, but he claimed not to have been aware of the so-called Dirty War. In 2006, Zorrigueta was discredited once again during a lawsuit against the top of the Banca Repubblica for money laundering the profits of drugs and weapons trade. Zorrigueta was on the board of directors between 86 and 96, the time of major deals between the bank and drug cartels. But once again, he came out clean due to bribery and corruption. His daughter Maxima didn't meet Willem-Alexander until 1999 in Spain. At least that is the official narrative, which is weird as the Dutch royal family had known the Zorriguetas for generations. Why did they lie about that? Prince Bernhard, Willem-Alexander's grandfather, frequented Argentina and the Zorriguetas even before World War II. Both families had a holiday mansion in Bariloche, a ski area with mostly German visitors and inhabitants. As a matter of fact, Bariloche was a Nazi den where many SSers and Nazi scientists went during Operation Paperclip. I was taught in school that the Nazi leaders were all convicted in the Nuremberg trials, that justice
We
was
were
served.
taught wrong.
But did you know that only 10 Nazis were hanged and only 7 went to jail? That's it. The big Nuremberg trials, only 17 of them? Did you actually think, like I did, they all got what they deserved?
Right.
Well, think again. They had way too much knowledge. Most of them were welcomed with open arms. NATO, NASA, they all loved them.
Unbelievable.
Many SSers, scientists and engineers did not go to the US but to South America instead, especially after their retirement. Argentina was very popular among them, especially the inhabitable Patagonia, where they were safe from post-war Nazi hunters. Bariloche was such a place. Big Nazi names such as Erich Priebke, responsible for and actively participating in the killing of 335 Italian men and boys in 1944. Reinhard Kops, SS officer who helped many Nazis escape to Argentina after the war. Josef Mengele, the Angel of Death from Death Camp Auschwitz, where he performed horrific experiments on children. And Adolf Eichmann, one of the major organizers of the Holocaust, all lived in Bariloche, later the favorite ski location of the Dutch royal family and the Zorriguetas. Both King Willem-Alexander's father and his grandfather were German. Both were part of the Nazi movement. Klaus von Amsberg, Willem-Alexander's father, was a member of the Hitler Youth. His parents were active participants in Hitler's NSDAP. When journalist Wim Klinkenberg wrote an article about Prince Klaus's Nazi past in Panorama magazine of December 1965, Dutch Prime Minister Kals personally interfered. he was stiffed about the contents of the article, in which clear evidence was presented that completely contradicted the official story about our prince's past. Carls ordered all 420,000 magazines that had only just been printed to be destroyed.
420,000. So it's nothing new on the controlling of information. It's actually the more you dive into this type of research, you start even questioning the history we've been spoon-fed right here in this country. And there's great discrepancies, and there is a level of importance. But the truth of the matter is, if you were to just sum it all up, why are we allowing all the secrecy? We don't have any privacy anymore. But the governments that are failing us. Do I need to pull up that other image at this time? You know what? I actually talked about it. I didn't pull it up last time. I just read it. Not that it's some amazing image. It's actually kind of weird. But what it states, it's like, riddle me this. This truly does deserve an answer. If the government cannot protect our votes, the vote, the border, our border, or us as citizens, then why do we have a government? Our government has been weaponized against we the people. And we've exposed that 7 ways to Sunday. They're putting anything potentially positive is just an illusion. They're giving us just enough luxury, just enough fight to keep us compliant. We should demand no more secrecy. And if we were to go in there, just overtake, it would be great. It would be great. I don't know. Let's just continue. I'm fighting for words today. I'm just quite frustrated, but I don't mean to be, because there is a great opportunity in this moment in time. And why else were we put in this time? Just to be slaves? It's continually getting worse. We're just going to sit by and allow it to get worse? Or are we going to seize this moment in time, no matter what comes from the election? It is up to us. I view it that it's up to we the people, no matter what the outcome of the election happens. Now, obviously, with Trump, it's going to pose a greater opportunity that we must seize. But I dare say, if we end up with Trump, I personally feel a lot of us are going to idly sit by and get comfortable and get back into the Coliseum, if you will, and watching Men in Tights type of stuff versus seizing the opportunities we have to have an individual that seemingly will listen to we the people and fulfill our discrepancies.
Incriminating evidence, documents, letters, etc. against the Dutch royal family were stolen from journalist Klinkenberg's home. The people of the Netherlands were not to find out about the dark side of the royal family. King Willem-Alexander's grandfather, Bernhard von Lippe-Biesterfeld, was member of Hitler's NSDAP, the SA, and the SS, where he served Himmler's elite cavalry, the Equestrian SS. During the Nuremberg trials, the Equestrian SS was the only division that was not prosecuted, so that Bernhard von Lippe-Biesterfeld, by that time married to the Dutch Queen Juliana van Oranje-Nassau, would remain safe from prosecution and from scrutiny. Do you realize how much power the Dutch royal family must have had to accomplish this? I wonder how many Dutch people know about this. I was taught in school that Bernhard was a war hero, that he served the British Secret Service, that he even wanted all 200 Dutch SSers executed at the end of the war. So many lies. At his wedding with Queen Juliana, the orchestra was asked to play the Nazi song of the NSDAP.
Interesting.
The director of the orchestra, Peter van Anrooy, refused, as did some of the musicians. But Bernhard made it happen. The song was played, many guests offered a Nazi salute, and the musicians who had been willing to play the song were later rewarded with a medal.
Wow.
During the war, Royal Shell gave millions of tons of crude oil to Hitler for free.
Who owns
Shell? A deal
Shell?
set up by Prince Bernhard. The crude oil was used for the Nazi tanks to invade and conquer the Netherlands. The people of the Netherlands were handed over to the Nazis by their royal family. Most Dutch people are completely unaware of this, even though these facts are quite easy to find when you start searching for the truth. We've just never been told.
Right.
Bernhard was corrupt to the core. He accepted a major bribe, $1.1 million, from Lockheed in 1976.
Surprise.
He was scrutinized for being president of the Worldwide Fund for Nature and the Prince Bernhard Nature Fund while being a passionate hunter and killer. More about Bernhard's hunting parties in a bit. Bernhard was a notorious womanizer. The maids of the royal palaces were terrified of him and knew very well they had to keep their doors locked at night. He had several illegitimate children, 2 of whom he officially acknowledged, Alexia and Alicia. Juicy little detail is that Alicia's mother was the daughter of Nazi test pilot Hannah Reich and Werner von Braun. That's right, the Nazi rocket scientist who was welcomed by the US in 1945 during Operation Paperclip to continue his work for NASA. Werner von Braun and Bernhard both had served in Himmler's cavalry, the Equestrian SS. They went way back. In 1952, Bernhard visited his old buddy Werner and took advantage of his daughter and left her pregnant. After that, he was no longer on speaking terms with the mother of his illegitimate child, as he put it himself. Bernhard was a much more powerful SSer than most people realize. Before, during and after World War II, he cherished and maintained his contact and friendships with other SS officers, both in Argentina, where he went on so-called trade missions for the Netherlands, and in Germany, which has always been denied by the royal family and the Dutch Central Intelligence Agency. Bernhard also founded the Bilderberg Group, where political and industrial leaders gather once a year to discuss...
Oh boy.
Well, nobody really knows, as it's highly secretive. You can only become part of this exclusive group upon invitation.
Wow.
When Prime Minister Luns tried to enter the conference in 1977, he was literally thrown out. There's one thing all researchers agree on. The Bilderberg Group is definitely Cabal.
Right.
There's one more thing Bernhard was known for, and this is where it gets really dirty. It's the main reason why I put so much emphasis on our royal family. And this is something everybody needs to know. Come quickly to part 8.
This is so interesting. I mean, to do these deep dives, it's as dark as some of it may get. What is more important to do with our time? Mindless entertainment? Fictional storylines? Soap operas? All designed to manipulate us and trigger us into this binge, mindless self-existence? This fires something else up within you because even seeing these individuals and starting to age, I mean, it pains me, all the womanizing of an individual and this and that, but then again, realizing he's met his mortal end. What did all that matter in this existence when you miss the big picture? When the God of this world ends up your father and not the creator, the loving creator of it all. That's ultimately what we are put here to determine. And it's just crazy, because if we would actually seize, it is like what's taking place within our own government, from little young women getting raided over tweets, their homes, or grandma because she was on the steps praying at January 6th. It's like, what are we afraid of in assembling, whether it's a proper militia or we get military and sheriffs, things like that involved, to go after Gates, Hillary, and storm their estates? Could you only imagine what we would find in their, not just machines, but in their cameras? Like, we don't allow a corrupt agency to go in there and clean things up. Like, more than likely what's taking place with whatever you freaking call him, P. Diddy, with Epstein. If we, the people, or an honest group, actually went in and then showed the public as to what they found, any one of these individuals, it would not stop there. We would continue. But what would be so amazing, the outcome of distributing, tearing down their corporations, organizations. There's going to be this natural equalization of even funds and opportunity in this existence. We can't even fathom it. It would be so amazing. It'd be worth fighting for and dying for, 100%. All right, that being said, let's go into part 8.
Which I promised to present.
That is so weird. Why the heck is it jumping into the end of the episodes? I apologize. Let's go. Beyond. Why do we have kings and queens?
The more I studied the hidden side of the European royal families, the further I fell down the rabbit hole, until I stumbled upon something
extremely dark. What do they say about money and power?
I will spare you the gruesome details. They are too horrific, too sickening. I urge you to...
Too horrific, too sickening. She's going to spell us some of the details, some of her research. Yes, just things we can't even fathom. These demonic individuals have been worshiping Satan and have gained too much of a two-tiered infrastructure. They literally can and do commit murder. They have that type of FU money. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They can get away with whatever they want.
To do your own research. Google the names you're about to hear. Read and listen for yourself and make up your own mind. This is where Pizzagate returns to the story.
Oh no.
Pizzagate is not just an American problem, it's a global problem. Let's get down to the real definition of Pizzagate. Worldwide, children are stolen and sold to elite pedophile rings. They are tortured, raped and murdered as part of satanic ritual ceremonies. The murderers then drink the children's blood and they eat their flesh. The blood of children who were severely traumatized before they died contains adrenochrome, a natural drug produced by the pineal gland in the brain. Adrenochrome is the highest valued drug in the world. The god these people serve is Satan.
Yes.
It's not a god of love and mercy.
Right.
Whether or not you believe in the existence of Satan is not relevant. They do.
Right.
And according to each and every eyewitness who has the guts to step forward, Pizzagate is real. Remember Mel Gibson's statements? He was ousted for not wanting to participate. He witnessed it though. And he is one of the very few who dares to speak about it.
Gosh,
personally, I think it's a miracle that he's still alive.
Yes.
Adrenochrome is real. It is the ultimate drug. This is what you look like when you take it. And this is when you no longer have access to it, thanks to President Trump. There was not as much time between these photos as you may think.
Wow. Stay on. Whoa, Epstein Island. Mark Zuckerberg. Unbelievable. To Orgy Island. Wow. I wonder where this message, where they got this message. I mean, it has been verified. It is no secret. Scientists have even spoken out on the effects of adrenochrome.
Not many children survive the satanic ritual ceremonies. The very few ones that do were not meant to be killed. They were there to sexually serve the elite. Royalty, sheikhs, top politicians, bankers, judges, church leaders, worldwide. Most survivors were born into satanic cult families.
Gosh dang.
When you study all of the survivors' accounts, you will see they have a lot in common. The same description of the atrocity inflicted upon them, the same names of perpetrators, and the same elite they belong to. The problem, however, is that these survivors are not believed by most people. It's easier to assume that they're insane or attention seekers than to face the horrible truth. Furthermore, not many survivors dare to step forward. They are simply too traumatized. I spent countless hours listening to their horrifying accounts. I read police reports, and I am convinced these people are not crazy.
Right.
They are not attention seekers nor liars. Their stories are consistent. Please do your own research and find out about the following victims and/or eyewitnesses. The Dutch Annemarie van Blijenburg.
There's much more than
Toos Nijenhuis. Anneke Lucas. And Ronald Bernard. The Irishman Richard Kerr. Brother and sister Gabriel and Eliza Dearman from the UK. The American Sarah Ruth Ashcraft, and the Australian Fiona Barnett. Whenever a child sex offender was arrested in the Netherlands and its neighbouring Belgium, think Mark Dutroux, Roberts Mikkelsons, they all swore they were supplying children for a large elite network. They were not believed. They were presented to the public as lone wolves, operating on their own. Most viewers will now once again experience some more cognitive dissonance. But hey, remember when the first reports emerged about the sexual abuse of boys and girls by Catholic priests and nuns?
Disgusting.
At first nobody believed it. People were too shocked to handle it. But now, so many years later, it is common knowledge to most people. The church paid millions of dollars to its victims in an effort to silence them. We now have the evidence. We have numbers, statistics. People have grown used to the idea that priests, bishops and cardinals rape children on an enormous scale.
Unbelievable.
And if you think the popes washed their hands in innocence, you're in for a big shock. Now I realize that satanic cult offerings of babies and children is a step further than sexual abuse. But I can assure you that more and more victims will soon speak up. And step by step, people can work their way through their cognitive dissonance so that soon we'll be able to save these children. Where do these children come from? How come they can simply disappear without a trace? Without worried parents who report them missing? They come from orphanages, children's homes, youth detention centers. Some are homeless. Many are refugees fleeing wars. These children are stolen, sold. We're talking the fastest growing trade here. According to the survivors, not only the
Do I need to pull up the whistleblower, a young man speaking out? He serves in a church in Mexico. And as they catch some of the cartel members, not many, but as they catch some and imprison them, they blow the whistle, and they talk of a lot about who their trafficking organization and all it entails, and where they're getting the money, where they're doing deliveries. And these cartel members have been talking about all their major shipments going to Democrats, like the Democratic Party. Now, I don't mean to just be, it's all a circus. But my heart goes out, like, what are we doing? We know of the 80,000 children that went missing. We know it's now in excess of over 300,000 little children that have been trafficked across the border and now are more than likely wrapped up in the trafficking trade. And it is far bigger than the gun trade and also the drug trade combined. And it's happening right here next door to us, if you will, in every state, all around us in this country. And we want to go about our soccer practice. We want to go about our Sunday football, our lives. When this evil is taking place, forget even the attacks on us. What's happening with these children, it's beyond infuriating. It is evil, demonic, and Satan's bloodlust is out of freaking control right now. We really should unify and go against these elitists yesterday. It's far past time. Time to expose the whole truths, all the truths. She goes through it. There's so much information that implicates all these elitists. It's not even funny.
Dutch, but also the British royal family are heavily involved in all of this. Back in the 1980s, a major controversy arose when it became clear that Prince Charles was a very close friend of Jimmy Savile, a notorious pedophile. Not only Charles, the entire royal family loved Savile, as did Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Savile was named by many victims and was said to have been extremely violent and cruel. He was never prosecuted and died a free man. Then there's the interesting close friendship between Prince Andrew and convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein held several young women as sex slaves, hiring them to his elite friends such as Prince Andrew. The royal family has always denied the allegations.
Of course it did. He did not commit suicide. Unbelievable. How dumb they think we are. How dumb we actually have been. Jeez. Bill Gates.
And there's more. In 2015, a video emerged, shot by a Swedish tourist at Buckingham Palace. It shows a naked boy climbing out of a window of the palace using a bed sheet. The boy cannot hold on and falls to the ground.
Wow.
The mainstream media tried their utmost best to debunk the video. Buckingham Palace declined to comment on the video, and the Metropolitan Police said they had no reports of the incident.
Unacceptable.
Now, I don't know what it is with the royal
Unacceptable.
family, but something's definitely weird. Have a look at Prince William's wife Kate, right after giving birth in 2018. Why on earth would she pick a dress that is identical to the one in the horror movie Rosemary's Baby, where Rosemary gives birth to Satan's child? What kind of an insane coincidence is that? According to the satanic ritual abuse survivors, the popes too were and are heavily involved. Pope Francis, Pope Benedict. Like I said, they do not wash their hands in innocence. On the contrary.
Freaking perverts. Symbolism will be there.
Both Pope Francis and the Dutch Prince Bernhard loved hunting parties, according to the survivors. Once again, I will do you the great favor of sparing you the disgusting details, but it boils down to this. The hunting parties took place in secret in forests, most of which belonged to royal estates in several European countries. The participants, all part of the before-mentioned elite satanic pedophile cult, would hunt down children, rape them, murder them, and cut off their genitals as a trophy. In February 20...
They have made horror films of this with elites. So many of them. What's the one with Lady Gaga and is it Black Mirror or something? And they drink children's blood. They project everything they do through Hollywood. It's crazy. We're not connecting these dots.
2013, former Pope Benedict Joseph Ratzinger was prosecuted and sentenced by default for crimes against humanity by the International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State. Ratzinger's crimes included child trafficking and protecting priests who had raped children. Is this why he stepped down, even though being a pope is a nomination for life? Interesting little detail is that lightning struck St. Peter's twice, only moments after his resignation. The same verdict followed for Pope Francis. One accusation was added: complicity in murder in Argentina. Others who were also prosecuted and sentenced for crimes against humanity were the British Queen Elizabeth Windsor and her husband Prince Philip, former Canadian Prime Minister Harper, and 27 other dignitaries. Whether or not this will lead to arrests? Time will tell. For now, both the Pope and the royal family enjoy immunity.
Unacceptable.
The International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State extensively investigated the case of the rape, torture and murder of 50,000 native children in Canada. The United Church of Canada, the Anglican Church and the British royal family played a major role in this case, as did the Dutch royal family, who fled to Canada to be safe from World War II. As far back as 1942, an investigative journalist of the Canada Gazette thoroughly studied the case and came to the shocking conclusion that 50,000 native children had disappeared from 80 Canadian Indian residential schools and that 31 mass grave sites have been found inside the school grounds containing the remains of children.
Are we turning a blind eye?
Now, as shocking as this may be, it is nothing new. On a regular basis, mass baby and children's graves are discovered, often near nunneries. In some cases, we don't know exactly what happened. In other cases, we do know, due to forensic evidence and the eyewitness accounts of survivors. Mel Gibson was right when he said that satanic cults with child sacrifices are nothing new. It goes way back into history. For thousands of years, children have been murdered to please Satan Lucifer, Baal, Moloch, or whatever you want to call him. I have found many paintings of child sacrifice in Catholic churches during my own research. It's part of human history, but that doesn't mean it's okay.
Right. Unbelievable.
We all know about the Aztecs and the human sacrifices, and we can deal with that, for it's old. But until recently, I was not aware of any of this. I'd never heard about Pizzagate and satanic Luciferian cults with child sacrifice. I thought it belonged to the past, to the Dark Ages. Well, I guess we're still living in the Dark Ages.
Yes, we are.
All of the satanic cults are connected, worldwide. People at the highest level are only at the highest level because they participate. And once you're in for life, through blackmail with pictures and video footage taken in secret. And some don't even need blackmail. They simply thrive on the pain and suffering of others.
Evil.
Some names have been named. Others will follow soon. The people will be shocked to the core when this comes out. Let me give you one piece of advice. When the video of Hillary Clinton and her right hand, Huma Abedin, raping, torturing, mutilating and killing a little girl comes out in the open, do not watch it. You will not sleep again. There are certain things I will not share with you here, simply because they are too horrific. Like this shower torture of a child by John Podesta. Search and find it for yourself if you like. I wish to wake people up, not traumatize them. The same goes for the red shoes. You want to know what they're made of? Do your own research.
Wow.
I'll give you a small hint. The tradition of red shoes for the elite goes all the way back to the Byzantine tradition when kings would wear them as symbols of bloody martyrdom. The video, by the way, was found on the confiscated laptop of Anthony Weiner, the ex-husband of Huma Abedin. It was stored together with thousands of other files in a folder called Life Insurance. Talk about blackmail. Weiner, by the way, was sentenced to serve 21 months in prison for sending sexual texts to a minor back in 2017. Oh, and the good news is, Weiner's laptop has officially been accepted in court as evidence. I can assure you we'll be hearing a lot more about its contents very soon. Now, what happens when you try to make...
This is over 2 years ago. The outcomes are egregiously unacceptable, and we all got to unify and step up. Why are we allowing predators to roam free around our children?
Any of this public? Either your TV...
Even worse, in powerful positions in our country.
...career ends right there and then. Or you get a heart attack. Or your plane crashes. Or you end up dead in a hotel room.
As she's warning about people that start talking about these things and exposing things, Janet herself paid the ultimate sacrifice, folks. I can only imagine the glory achieved after this existence. But how is it Janet has had more courage than the majority of males today. I don't get that. Model who exposed elite pedophile ring found dead after tweet predicting she'd be killed. Come on.
Or you are found with a bullet in your back. Or you commit suicide.
Isaac Cappy. Yeah.
And guess what? I haven't even shown you the real top of the pyramid of power yet. Just the visible top. Did you think the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, George Soros, the government leaders, even the royal families, did you think they are the top of the 1%? They are not. There is a very dark order above them all, making puppets of everybody else, even of kings and queens.
Right.
Ever heard of the Jesuit order? Did you know that there are 3 popes instead of 1? Ever heard of Agenda 21? Of its sequel? The depopulation program? This is so big, it does not fit in this first documentary. It will form a film of its own, which I promise to present in the very near future. What I wish to give you now is hope.
Yes.
After all of this misery, it's time for some light.
Yes.
And the good news is, there is plenty of that. Come with me, finally, to the good news in part 9 and 10.
Wow. Well, we are already an hour and 31. What do you suppose? We'll jump into 9. We'll do 9, and that might be it. But to fear not, we could go into 10, and then we could go into the sequel where she's actually won. She's gone all the way 1 through 26. So a lot of this becomes a lot more relevant. And I mean, it's a year ago on that one. So let's let's play part 9.
Obama, the Clintons,
Why is it
and
doing
Bush.
that? I apologize.
When Q arose on October 28, 2017, little did we know that a new era had started. Something big, something massive started unfolding before our very eyes, but most people remained completely in the dark. Through the Q drops, hints, clues, and questions were planted like seeds, waiting for humanity to be picked up, researched, and unraveled. Bit by bit, we, the people, woke up. Using other means than the mainstream media, the QAnon started communicating with each other through Facebook, Twitter, and other social media. The same social media that was set up by the Cabal to monitor the people 24/7 were now used to find each other and to spread news and findings. There was no stopping us anymore. People in France went out into the streets in yellow vests, showing President Macron that they no longer complied. What started off with small groups evolved into mass protests. For over a year now, tens of thousands of people have been gathering every Saturday. Not just in France, but in Spain, Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden, Bulgaria, Turkey, Poland, Hungary, Taiwan, Australia, Iraq, Israel. The mainstream media tried to make people believe it was just a fading phenomenon, but the people saw through their lies. George Soros then intervened in his own special way. He paid his people to mingle with the yellow vests and start riots. The ever-successful way to discredit a group of protesters with peaceful intentions, make them look like vandals and aggressors. Soros's rats attacked the police. But this strategy didn't work either. His rats were not very smart. They forgot to put on yellow vests, and in the heat of the fight, they shouted, "Paris, Paris, Antifa!" Then they forgot who they were supposed to attack, so they went for the yellow vests as well.
Wow.
Macron got scared. He told the French police to strike down the protests with all means necessary. but the police officers took off their helmets in solidarity with the yellow vests.
Wow.
What else could the Cabal do? Use extreme violence. Army forces were deployed. Snipers were put on rooftops to shoot at the yellow vests if necessary. Thousands of people got injured. People died.
Gosh dang.
France is in the middle of a civil war, but the mainstream media remains silent. 23 yellow vests have died for believing in a better world. South America too shows massive protests, where people demand their corrupt governments to step down. The world is experiencing the biggest revolution ever. The worst nightmare of the Cabal has come true. The people have woken up. And contrary to other revolutions that humanity went through in the past, this revolution is one of knowledge, understanding of how things are run by the elite, and the willingness to work together to create a better world. A revolution of the people can only work when there is help at the top. That help was never there in the past, but now there is. That is what makes this revolution different. We have an ally at the top, an ally that we refer to as Q. Q is a group of people, not an individual. The intel Q provides is top level. I believe Q comprises of Donald J. Trump and some of his most loyal army generals. Without the help of the army top, the plan that is unfolding would never stand a chance. But there's more to Q than meets the eye. I am convinced there are some secret components that will be revealed soon.
Now, I haven't drank up that whole Q narrative as though sit back and enjoy the show. We're all good. No, we need to ensure
that is true.
We need to ensure we're good. And the simple threats of our nation, it's only enhancing with what we've exposed before with this new directive. And RFK even speaks out on right here. You saw what started taking place in those riots. They're gearing up for things, folks.
Illegal of the U.S. military to use lethal force against American citizens on American soil.
This really is no joke. I'm not spitting smoke here. That directive speaks for itself. So there needs to be more unification. If you could bless this platform and get more followers, get more shares out there, we would like to be a part of that solution. If in fact we don't start growing in that regard, then I'm going to plug in to other solutions I see fit where I'll see momentum. But I can't idly sit by anymore when these children and these war crimes are continuing. For frick sakes, the COVID death bioweapon shot is still being administered and still on shelves. I mean, there's so many wartime. It's unacceptable. So if you want to invest in your future, help blow up this platform or direct me in a way that you see fit where we could be more effective together. I pray more people hear this prayer, this warning. I believe too many of us are missing our roles, our opportunities that we are to play in this particular time. And more than riding the ship, we have souls to save.
President Trump and the entire Q team are working out a plan that has been in the making for the past 20 years. A plan so all-encompassing, it took this long to calculate every step, every move to perfection. Every possible outcome of each and every step was thoroughly mapped out, leading to the next optimal move. We're talking probability calculation at the highest level. How do we know? Because Q made predictions of events that we, the people, could never have foreseen. President Trump gave clues in his speeches that pointed to events that were about to unfold, but most people didn't even notice them. The mainstream media made fun of them, but the QAnons recognized them and realized just how brilliant Q really was. Let me give you a few examples. In the middle of a press conference in November 2017, Trump stopped a few times to take a sip of water from a small plastic bottle. It seemed weird, completely overdone. He repeated this a month later in the middle of a talk about national security. He held the glass with two hands like a child. The mainstream media went hysterical, claiming the president was either retarded or suffering from some degenerative disease. The Anons, however, knew immediately that he was pointing out something. The water bottle contained Fiji water. Fiji water is bottled on the Isle of Wakanda. In 1973, Wakanda was bought by a Canadian businessman, David Gilmour. In 1996, he founded Waters. In 2016, Claire Bronfman, heiress to the multi-billion-dollar Seagram liquor fortune, bought 80% of Wakanda from Gilmour and financed the setup of Nexium on the island. Exactly, the sex cult run by Keith Raniere, who branded his initial into the women that he kept on the island as sex slaves, who were lured in by sweet-faced Alison Mack, the Smallville actress. The ball started rolling, arrests were made, and in April 2019, Raniere was found guilty on all charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking. Some of his victims were minors. Claire Bronfman and her sister Sarah pleaded guilty on all charges, as did Alison Mack.
Wow.
More incriminating things will come to the surface soon. Nexium donated a large amount of money to the Clinton Foundation. Claire Bronfman was CEO of a company called Bronfman Rothschild, as was Evelyn Rothschild and his wife Lynn. Remember them from the previous episodes? Isn't it fascinating how the same key players keep popping up? There's one more disturbing thing about this case, which involves the Dalai Lama. In May 2009, the Bronfman sisters organized an event with the Dalai Lama in Albany. There was a lot of criticism towards the Dalai Lama. How could he connect his good name with a sex cult? But he decided to go anyway. 10 days after the event, the Dalai Lama Trust was founded. According to its tax filings, the trust received $2.2 million in donations in its first year. Was the Dalai Lama bought to connect himself to Nexium? According to an inside Nexium member, this was indeed the case. The Dalai Lama's office and the Bronfman sisters denied the allegation. Now that this has come out into the open, it would be nice if the Dalai Lama would at least explain why he went along with the sex cult or apologize. But instead, he blames Trump on unethical behavior.
Wow.
Now, why was the Fiji case so important? Nexium will soon turn out to be just a small fish compared to what's coming. Think crimes against children, sex trafficking, and satanic child sacrifice. Think big names like the Clintons, the Obamas, and the Podestas. What Trump did was he started off with a case important enough to be presented to the people, but small enough not to completely shock them. He chose Nexium to let the public get used to the major offenses that are about to be revealed. This is what we call red-pilling the people, a term coined in the movie The Matrix. Do you want the blue pill or the red pill? If you choose the red pill, you will be shown the truth, and there's no way back. Here's another example of Trump's brilliant strategy.
No other way to live.
In June 2017, Melania boarded the presidential plane on her way to visit a youth detention center with Mexican migrant children who had been separated from their parents. She wore a coat with the text, "I really don't care, do you?" It was a strange choice, for the coat wasn't fashionable at all, and the text was quite provocative, to say the least. Once again, the mainstream media went into a frenzy, but the QAnons knew the Trumps were giving yet another clue. The coat turned out to be a Zara product. An investigation made clear that Zara made use of slave labor. As a result, Armancio Ortega, founder and CEO of Zara, resigned 6 months after Melania's action. Yet another clue that was being given by Melania was the fact that these children were not separated from their parents, but saved from child traffickers. More than 8,500 CEOs resigned over the last 2 years, many for unclear reasons, just like Hugh had predicted. Was Trump indeed draining the swamp like he had promised? One of Hugh's crumbs that was repeated several times was, "We have the server." It quite clearly referred to Hillary Clinton's server, the one she tried so hard to destroy before it would be used against her in a court of law. But how did the Q team lay their hands on it? The clue was given in Helsinki, Finland, when Trump met Vladimir Putin on July 16, 2018. Trump openly asked the audience, "Where is the server? Where are the servers? They are missing. Where are they? What happened to Hillary's emails? 33,000 emails. They're gone. Just gone. I think it's a disgrace." Remember the scene with the soccer ball? Putin handed Trump the ball and said, "The ball is now in your court." Trump took the ball and said, "This will go to my son, Barron." He then threw the ball to Melania. What was so special about the ball? Why the big smiles and the twinkling in their eyes? What was going on here? And why did Melania post a tweet with this picture later that year? Many QAnons agree on the theory that the content of the servers was inside that soccer ball, containing enough incriminating evidence to put a lot of people in Washington, D.C. behind bars for life. Try evidence for the Uranium One scandal, where Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, and with knowledge and approval of President Obama, gave Russia control of 20% of America's uranium by approving the Rosatom deal. The Russian company Rosatom had bought the Canadian company Uranium One in 2010, 3 years after the latter had purchased Eurasia, owned by Frank Giustra, our friend with the pedophile logo from Part 4. Remember? Giustra had officially stepped down after the purchase, so why did he donate $145 million to the Clinton Foundation right after the Rosatom deal was signed? Why on earth was he too embraced by the Dalai Lama? Why the hell did he get the Dalai Lama Humanitarian Award when he is involved up to his ears in child trafficking? Why did Bill Clinton receive $500,000 for a talk in Moscow right after the Rosatom deal was announced? Do you know what we're looking at here? Bribery, corruption, pay-to-play, money laundering, and high treason. This was the real Russian collusion.
Right.
Oh, by the way, why did Trump say the soccer ball was going to his son Barron? According to insiders, Barron is extremely intelligent with an IQ of 146. He is said to be incredible with computers, especially when it comes to hacking, cracking codes, passwords, etc. Bearing this in mind, I so understand the facial expressions that one fine day in Helsinki. Soon, very soon, there will be arrests. Mass arrests. Everything has been laid out. 20 years of preparations. The CIA, FBI, DOJ, NSA, every three-letter agency has been cleared of deep state actors. How can you make arrests when the agencies are corrupted? You cannot. That's why Comey, McCabe, Brennan, and other key players had to go. That's why some of them suddenly stepped down while others were fired. The stage has been set. The world will be in for a major shock. How on earth are people going to respond when it becomes clear that Obama, Pelosi, Schumer, Feinstein, Strzok, Page, the Clintons, that they all tried everything they could possibly think of to impeach the President of the US? We will soon see that it went much further than just spying. It went as far as organized murder attempts. The Cabal, the deep state, tried to assassinate the President of the United States on multiple occasions. They tried to force Trump to go to war with North Korea, but after annihilating the Cabal strongholds there, he brought peace. They now try to force him to go to war with Iran, but I can assure you he will do the exact same thing. Annihilate the Cabal strongholds first, and then bring peace. Q said it would happen this way. First Korea, then Iran, Israel last. Then there is Obama's high treason. Everything you were told about him by the mainstream media will soon turn out to be false. Falsified on purpose.
Right.
Soon we will be presented with hard evidence concerning his birth certificate, his ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, the extremist party behind ISIS. Pictures such as these will start to surface. Obama and the Clintons integrated the Muslim Brotherhood in the American government at the highest level. Remember Huma Abedin, Hillary's right hand? Her parents were directly connected to the Muslim Brotherhood, as is her brother. Where do you think that leaves her? Remember John McCain? What was he doing in Iraq with the ISIS top 4? Why did Trump say they caught the 5 most wanted ISIS leaders? Not 4, 5. Did you notice something weird about the flag on his coffin? It was wrinkled. Only traitors get wrinkled flags. It was a code. High treason, death penalty. Did you really believe he died of cancer? Do you still believe Osama bin Laden was the enemy? That he was responsible for 9/11?
Right.
That he set up Al-Qaeda?
No.
He was a CIA agent before he became the enemy. His American name was Tim Osman. Osama Osman. Did you hear about Team 6? The Navy SEALs who killed him? They all died 3 months later when a helicopter crashed. No eyewitnesses who might once tell the tale of what really happened. We've been
the elites will go to any lengths. Yes, lies, lies, and more lies. I know it's a lot. It's hard. It's actually, it's been so long since I've dove into this. This was the initial kind of opening of eyes for me that led to questions and more direct connects and more tangibly kind of like thought out corruption and how we could even address it. With all this, it's like, where do we even begin? I get it. I do get that it can be overwhelming, but just know this very simplistic answers we need right now. We just need to gain momentum. That's it. We can't allow this. We can't continually live in a life of amnesia. It's like the latest thing, and that's what we're focused on, and then the next latest thing. These type of tactics are just perpetually confusing us and taking up our time and energy and not focusing on the real corruption and the real issues at hand and the individuals behind all these tactics. So help us get organized. Help us provide the solutions. Let's not have amnesia and all these egregious outcomes that have been played out in this very episode. It's so crucial that we seek proper momentum in the right arenas, and we rule out this corruption.
Lie to on a scale we cannot fathom just yet. History books will have to be rewritten. America was sold to the highest bidder by Obama, the Clintons,
100%.
and the Bushes. Do you realize the state of shock people are going to be in when the truth finally hits the surface? Do you understand why Guantanamo Bay has been fully upgraded and expanded? Do you have any idea how many sealed indictments there are waiting for the perfect moment to be unsealed so that arrests can be made?
Sure hope.
More than 100,000. Many will be prosecuted for treason, some for high treason. High treason means capital punishment, death penalty. There will be chaos and shock, but there will be guidance from totally unexpected mystery guests. This moment in time is one that will make history, one that is unprecedented in the history of mankind. Do you think I'm exaggerating? Find out in our final part, number 10.
Holy smokes, what a crazy world we live in, isn't it? We have blindly entrusted in way too much, just been spoon-fed by these dang globalists, these elitists, these Satan worshipers in this existence. What is going on, right? Wow. Well, there's great opportunity. I pray we seize the opportunities we got. Let's tune into that Jesus is calling. Man, I'm going to go over the 2-hour mark. I try to keep it under for personal reasons, but all right, so we got October 30th. As dark as some of that is, let's just tap into the light. And this reads, I am with you. I am with you. I am with you. Heaven's bells continually, what is that? Peal? P-E-A-L? With that promise of my presence. Peal. I'll have to look up that word and how it's applied right there. I apologize. Some people never hear those bells because their minds are earthbound and their hearts are closed to me. Others hear the bells only once or twice in their lifetimes, in rare moments of seeking me above anything else, my desires. is that my sheep hear my voice continually. For I am ever present shepherd. For I am the ever present shepherd. Quietness is the classroom where you learn to hear my voice. Beginners need a quiet place in order to still their minds as you advance in this discipline. Wow, the other sermon of just how evil has been deceiving us and stealing from us with the notion of busy, 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 and not sitting in that meek, humble, quiet place to actually connect to our loving Creator and gain protection, clarity, peace, and the clear path forward in this existence. You gradually learn to carry out the stillness with you wherever you go. You step back into the mainstream of life. Strain to hear those glorious bells. I am with you. I am with you. I am with you. I like that one. So we actually have 2 biblical references. Let's dive into them. First, we have, come on, open up. I'm a gimp. This hand, I need to ice it. It is throbbing. Jeremiah 29:12 through 13. And it reads, in those days when you pray, I will listen. If you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me. I will be found by you, says the Lord. I will end your captivity and restore your fortunes. I will gather you out of the nations where I sent you and will bring you home again to your own land. So good. Promises from our loving Creator that defeated the God of this world. And we have John 10:14. I'm confused. Seven. Why is it giving me 10? I'm confused, folks. I'm sorry. It's saying John 10:14 and then 27:28. I just pulled up 10:27:28. That's what I pulled up. Drop in the comments below, but this states 27. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. I give them eternal life and they will never perish. No one can snatch them away from me. My Father has given them to me, and he is more powerful than anyone else. No one can snatch them from the Father's hand. The Father and I are one. Let's grasp onto that. That's so true. Let's not fall prey to the God of this world and his deceit as though he's our loving Creator. He is not. You could look at the fruits. You could look at these individuals. It is unfreaking believable. Let that bring peace to your heart. I give them eternal life. Never perish. We can't even fathom the glory of our loving Creator. He is of light. He is of love. The devil, once again, was put here only, or he's a thief, and he's here only to steal, kill, destroy. Let's not fall prey to that. I love you guys. Help us. Help us get the message out. We must reach more people. We will end with that. Just please share, share, share. You could have a far more, greater impact than you can even imagine yourself. Let's get more plugged in. Reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. Like this episode, share this episode, comment this episode. Until next time, we will continue more of the Fall of the Cabal in this sequel and the very last episode of this 10-part series. Hopefully tomorrow. Until then, God bless you and take care.